Thank you for joining Closing AI and Tech Skill Gaps in 2026. I'm Dave Murphy, head of go-to-market at TryTami, and I'm joined by Kelby Zordrager, our CEO. And in today's session, we are going to cover the AI and tech skill gaps or skills organizations will need in 2026, how we're seeing instructor-led training rise again and become prevalent again, where training operations typically breaks as instructor-led programs scale, and how AI can reduce the manual training operations that typically limit growth. And so this session was designed for anyone in a training provider, engineering enablement, learning development, or engineering leadership type role that might be facing AI and tech skill gaps and looking for ways to solve them.
Thanks, Dave. So we're first going to just start off with kind of a state of the industry on what we're seeing in terms of tech skill gaps. Everybody's probably familiar with the push of AI, the adoption of AI, the decrease in software jobs in AI, the change of the workforce with AI, so on and so forth. But in terms of kind of industry trends, these are the five biggest areas that we're seeing as potential gaps in the tech skills market. Starting off with AI native applications, we're seeing a lot of companies do broad adoption of AI tools, tools like Copilot or Claude, deploying them not only to their engineers and software developers, but to entire organizations. And so the biggest challenge there that we're seeing in terms of AI adoption is giving the learners actual practical examples, practical workflows that they can use with the tools. The second is that AI is a data monster. It relies on and needs a lot of data. So the second biggest need that we're seeing in the industry right now is around data and data automation. And data used to be, as everybody probably knows, relatively siloed within an organization, but now users within the organization need to understand some data fundamentals and why data is structured in a certain way and what information they can pull out of the data when they're using those AI tools. So we're seeing a much broader need for what I would call cross-organization training around data and automation. Cloud, we've been moving to the cloud for a while, probably 15 years. There are some new functionalities and new capabilities in cloud computing today, where we can consume what the industry would be calling agents or services. And so that's changing the environment in which we're developing software. So kind of like with the AI world, we also need strong hands-on environments. We're seeing a lot of pushes into what I would call sandbox environments to support those cloud native skills. The other two areas I think will stay around forever. Security probably should be at the top of the list. That's not going away. Read an article recently that largest job growth in the tech sector over the next 10 years is going to be in the security space. 70% growth year over year is what they're predicting. So that's a big thing. The challenge that we're seeing there is when companies do adopt AI, the first question they ask is, what does this mean from a security perspective? What does this mean from a governance perspective? And then the last thing is the integration. As new services come online, as new APIs come online, MCP servers come online, systems are built way more API first than they have been in the past. So those are some of the current tech skills that we're seeing, current tech skill gaps that we're seeing in the market. Just to support that a little bit, we did some research. Robert Half released industry white paper on kind of the biggest skill gaps that they're seeing in the marketplace in terms of placing people, and you'll see it kind of closely matches what we just talked through. A few things that kind of stand out beyond AI and cybersecurity. DevOps and cloud are still a very needed thing. The DevOps environment has changed a little bit with the advent of AI tools. Some of the different infrastructure components that we had been using are repackaged in a new way. So that's still a gap. And then the web app gap is kind of interesting. If you use something like Cursor or Swift or Claude Code, one of the agentic software development environments, producing a web application is much more straightforward than it was 15 years ago. The challenge that it's creating is that organizations are now facing more tech debt than they have in the past. It's much more efficient, quicker to release new features. And so the web app world is kind of caught in this place where new applications can be quickly deployed and old applications need to be managed and maintained. So that's a quick overview of the gaps that we're seeing in the current marketplace. Related to since we are a training-oriented company, related to the skill gaps, we thought it would be just worthwhile to kind of point out where is the industry going from a learning perspective. Over the last 10 years, there was a shift, maybe 15 years, there was a shift from traditional instructor-led training to more self-paced, choose your own adventure type of training through self-paced libraries, especially libraries like Pluralsight, Udemy, LinkedIn Learning, things like that. But over the last few years, companies have started to adopt more aggressively instructor-led training than they have in the last 10 years. And some of that is driven by the advent of people working from home during COVID. Some of that has been driven by the ability of learning experience platforms to truly deliver blended learning. But most of it has, I believe, most of it has been driven by the pace of change in technology. And a lot of the traditional self-paced libraries haven't been able to keep pace with the change in technology. So it's become easier for organizations to spin up short-form instructor-led training sessions to address direct gaps based on the latest, greatest version of a technology. So it crossed across industry sector. We're seeing that instructor-led training, and we'll include virtual instructor-led training, is still about 50% of the training delivery methods, regardless of the company size. So still a significant portion of learning. And depending on the research that you read, some folks say that that's going to continue to increase. Other folks say that's going to stay about the same. I guess only time will tell, but my belief is that it'll continue to increase over the next 3 to 5 years. And then related to the instructor-led training, since it is about 50% of the learning market share, the things that we're seeing right now is a shift from the traditional 5-day course or 3-day course into what we're calling short form live learning. So those are typically sessions that are about 4 hours long, still live, still instructor-led, still hands-on. But we're seeing the shift to that short form learning mostly because it's a more flexible delivery format. It's less disruptive to project schedules, and the learning can be way more targeted. Of course, hands-on learning is still a big portion of that. Where the other shift that we're seeing is a move to more outcome-based learning. We've always talked about outcome-based learning in the learning industry, but in today's day and age, with the pace of technology change, it's becoming more and more important. The focus now is how do I do a certain task or a certain set of tasks with a certain tool and actually apply that back at my job day one after the training. And then the last trend that we're starting to see become more popular over the last 2 years is what we're calling mentored sessions, where a mentor joins a formalized couple-hour QA. Folks can join that QA either coming to it from attending self-paced learning or coming to it from a formal class. And the idea there is that, engineers specifically, as they're getting stuck and as they're trying to adopt new tools and technologies, need a place to just ask questions and get some guided instruction. So that's becoming a more popular trend as well. Dave, I'll
And
flip it
so,
to you.
yes, thank you, Kelby. And so, as Kelby mentioned, instructor-led training and virtual instructor-led training still make up over 50% or roughly 50% of all training formats. E-learning has struggled to keep up with the pace of rapid tech change and also faces other challenges like 10 to 20% average completion rates. Uh, However, instructor-led training can tend to break down in the training operations side of things. So when we look at course design to build new courses or customize existing courses, this has traditionally taken weeks or months or even longer. Sourcing the right instructors is challenging. Doing it manually, there's a lot of back and forth, and mismatched instructors can cause a lot of challenges for customers. Scheduling, this is typically calendar ping pong, especially for global organizations across time zones and locations. So that can cause significant delays. And then there's also the communications, the logistics, and the tracking and ROI. So there's constant communication between students, instructors, and other folks involved in delivering the instructor-led training. There's a lot of logistics in terms of either in-person rooms or virtual platforms, getting the communications for that out, as well as prerequisites, and then post-training follow-up. So whether that's simple feedback, measuring evaluations, or doing it more advanced, measuring outcomes, like Kelby just mentioned, a lot of this starts to break down when doing instructor-led training at scale. And so that brings us to how AI can help streamline training operations for instructor-led training. AI provides a lot of benefits, including helping to speed up course design. So AI can help us generate new outlines, customize existing outlines and content, and update the materials in days. It can help with instructor sourcing, so it can help match instructors based on their skills, ratings, and availability. AI can help automate scheduling. It can look at instructor calendars, figure out when people are available, and automatically schedule sessions with instructors that are available to reduce the back and forth. AI can also automate communications. So when we talk about reminders, the prerequisites I mentioned, updates to where the course is or when it is, and then the follow-ups to measure feedback, evaluation, and outcomes. The logistics we just talked about, coordinating rooms, and then like I just also mentioned, tracking ROI and outcomes. So if we use AI to help streamline these operations, we can set up new courses faster for AI and new technologies. We can coordinate easier across instructors, students, and other folks involved in delivery. There's less admin work for internal training teams and training providers to focus on what matters. And there's improved efficiency. So from booking to delivery, and then from time to revenue. And all this is with the goal of keeping instructors at the core of training. So empowering training providers, whether that's B2B training providers or internal learning development enablement teams, or even engineering leaders who are taking this upon themselves. AI and automation can really help them scale delivery without adding more overhead and more admin work so you can focus on what's critical, which is teaching and training. And so the idea is to enable instructors, not replace them, despite what a lot of hype out in the market or social media is. And so AI can really help handle the repetitive tasks like we just talked about so that instructors can focus on teaching, helping learners build the right skills, and run programs without bottlenecks. And so that brings us to TryTami, which is what Kelby and I and the team have been building over the last several months, is a platform to help automate and streamline the training operations and delivery of technical training, whether that's live in the classroom or virtual on Zoom. And so TryTami can really help deliver more consistent, high quality instructor-led training. It can help scale programs without adding more headcount or overhead or complexity. And it can help you keep pace with fast-moving tech and AI skills. Kelby mentioned Claude earlier. Claude was just invented last year. and has seen rapid adoption across small companies and now into the enterprise. And so I'll show you a quick sneak peek of the TryTami. I will just take a few minutes in the sake of time. And so you can see my screen here. And so TryTami is an AI native training management software. And so right now you're looking at our dashboard where we have all of our instructor-led classes that we're designing or sourcing instructors for. We have upcoming courses that are confirmed and locked in. And then we would also be able to see our past courses that we've run to show the ROI and outcomes. And so if I drill into the upcoming course here, you can see all the information that has been confirmed for the class. And in our experience and in talking to a lot of training providers and companies today, most are still using spreadsheets and homegrown systems to do this. And that causes the training operational delays that we've talked about. So I'm hitting a little delay in the demo here, but here we are. So you can see this is a confirmed delivery. We have our instructor confirmed who we can chat directly in app with. We have all the details of our training session, where it is virtual. We have a registration and a wait list. We'll show ratings after the class has been delivered, and we can view the sessions easily down here. From here, we could edit the sessions if there's something we want to update and eliminate traditionally the back and forth weeks of emails, meetings to do the same thing. There's also a class chat so students and instructors can engage before the training. And if I wanted to, I could create a new course like this in the matter of minutes. And the way I would do that is I could explore existing courses and select one to further customize, or I could use some of Tami's tools like create my own course, upload my own course, and then I can also upload my trainers if I have them. If I don't have my own trainers, I can also tap into Tami's marketplace of vetted instructors to quickly find those that are the best fit and also available for when I need them. And so that's a quick 2-minute overview in the sake of time, and I'll jump back over to my presentation. So the key takeaways from that is ILT demand. ILT is still prominent at about 50% of training in organizations across all company sizes. Kelby has mentioned the shift from week-long classes to short-form sessions, which can also create additional operational challenges. Those operational challenges are typically a result of using spreadsheets, CRMs, homegrown systems, and a large team of people to coordinate these deliveries that can slow things down. And AI provides an opportunity to keep the instructors front and center, but streamline the back office tasks and repetitive tasks like scheduling, coordination, logistics, and tracking. Kelby, back over to you.
Yes. So with that, I thought we would just kind of open it up for any question and answers folks have either on learning trends